49 days. No silence. No cooling. No retreat. Tonight, a warning that emergency planners across Albay Province have been dreading. Sulfur dioxide has exploded to 3,891 tons per day. Pyroclastic density currents are multiplying. The alert threshold this region has not crossed in decades is level 4, hazardous eruption imminent. It is a countdown. The question officials refuse to answer on record. How close are we, and are the people inside the danger zone already out of time? January 6th, 2026, 1:20 in the afternoon, local time. PHIVOLCS raises Mayon to alert level 3. The classification is stark and unambiguous. Increased tendency toward hazardous eruption. Within hours, pyroclastic density currents begin racing down the Bonga Gully on the volcano's southeast flank. Residents call them Yusan in the Bicol region. Scientists call them one of the most lethal forces a volcano can produce. Hot gas, ash, and fragmented rock moving at hundreds of kilometers per hour. During the 1993 eruption of Mayon, 77 people died because of a single pyroclastic density current event. On January 6th, they are already multiplying. By January 9th, monitoring stations record 100 pyroclastic density currents in a single 24-hour period. Scientists who have watched Mayon for careers describe the intensity as exceptional. Ashfall dusts the barangays of Busakol and Dega. 3,476 residents flee the 6-kilometer permanent danger zone. The evacuation machinery grinds into motion, and it does not stop. Week 2 brings no relief. Week 3 brings ground deformation data that makes volcanologists go quiet. GPS stations confirm accelerating inflation in the volcano's eastern sectors. Evacuation numbers climb past 15,000, then 25,000. Week 4 shatters projections entirely. Sulfur dioxide crosses 1,000 tons per day, then 2,000. Then it keeps climbing. By February 4th, PHIVOLCS instruments record the peak that alarms the international volcanological community. 6,569 tons of sulfur dioxide in a single day. The highest single-day reading at Mayon in 15 years. Between January 1st and February 9th alone, monitoring logs document 9,941 rockfall events, 1,690 pyroclastic density currents, and 1,346 volcanic earthquakes. These are not warning signs scattered across a timeline. They are a wall of data screaming the same message in every language science has. And then comes February 24th. Mayon emits ash at 1:50 in the afternoon, generating a grayish to brownish plume reaching 1,000 meters above the crater. Sulfur dioxide flux records 3,891 tons for February 23rd. PHIVOLCS Director Teresito Bacolcol addresses the nation. He is careful. He is measured. He says there is no clear indication yet to raise the alert level. But listen to what he also says. This will only be raised if there is a clear escalation in monitoring parameters. And here is what has scientists holding their breath. Every single monitoring parameter has been escalating since day 1. But here is what has volcanologists in complete panic. The sulfur dioxide is not a random spike. It is a confession. When magma rises from deep chambers toward the surface, dissolved gases escape first. Sulfur dioxide concentration reveals exactly how much fresh molten rock is actively degassing beneath the crater. The higher the reading, the larger the magma supply. The February running average of 5,503 tons per day is more than double the January average of 2,571 tons per day. That is not a plateau. That is an acceleration. Dr. Ma Antonia Bornes, chief of the PHIVOLCS Volcano Monitoring and Eruption Prediction Division, confirms the deeper reality. High sulfur dioxide emissions indicate the release of volcanic gas from magma. When gas emissions increase as magma becomes shallow, it suggests the ascent of fresh magma, which may lead to lava fountaining or moderate explosive activity. The mountain is not exhausting a finite reserve of molten rock. Fresh magma keeps arriving from below. The reservoir is feeding itself. Lava flows tell the same story in a different language. As of early February, lava has advanced 3.8 kilometers down the Basud Gully, 1.6 kilometers down the Bonga Gully, and 1.3 kilometers down the Miasi Gully. New volcanic material has changed the morphology of the mountain itself. Gullies that once directed flows in predictable paths are now overflowing, choked with deposits from the 2018 and 2023 eruptions. The lava is finding new routes. No one knows exactly where the next flow will reach. The PHIVOLCS alert scale runs from 0 to 5. Level 3 means intensified unrest, magmatic unrest. Stay out of the 6-kilometer permanent danger zone. Level 4 means something far more terrible. Hazardous eruption imminent. At level 4, expanded evacuation zones activate immediately. At level 4, the assumption shifts from monitoring a dangerous volcano to managing an eruption in progress. At level 4, the Philippines has historically seen mass displacement measured not in tens of thousands, but in hundreds of thousands. The indicators PHIVOLCS is watching before crossing that threshold are precise. Frequent and bigger pyroclastic density currents, accelerating ground deformation, sustained sulfur dioxide readings that refuse to fall. On February 9th, the largest pyroclastic density current since January tore down the Miasi Gully, sending ash clouds west across Camalig and Guinobatan, blanketing 32 barangays. The runout measured 4 kilometers of radial distance from the crater. Monitoring specialists said it warranted no higher alert level, but they also said this: the eruptive process is continuous, and hazard is increasing. 49 days into the crisis, 80,000 people remain displaced from their homes across Albay Province. 19,847 families, 23 times the evacuation count from January 6th. In 13 government evacuation centers, families sleep on gymnasium floors in facilities built for a fraction of the current population. Portable toilets are provided at a ratio of 1 unit per 85 people. The smell of confined humanity mixes with the sulfur drifting down from the mountain above. Rosa Martinez, 67 years old, has survived 3 Mayon eruptions across 6 decades. She evacuated from Barangay Mabinit in Legazpi City on January 7th, carrying medications, her husband's death certificate, and a single photograph. 49 days later, she sleeps on cardboard laid across concrete. Her farm sits empty inside the danger zone. 8-year-old Marco Dela Cruz has not attended school since January 6th. His mother reports nightmares and a refusal to sleep without lights. Provincial health officials document a 180% increase in pediatric anxiety cases at evacuation center medical stations. These are not statistics. They are a generation being shaped by a volcano that has no interest in their calendar. The Albay Provincial Agriculture Office estimates 127 million pesos in crop losses in the first month alone. That number climbs by the day. Coconut plantations, abaca fields, rice paddies. Generations of accumulated labor sit abandoned inside exclusion zones. The volcano decides when they go home. The volcano keeps its own time. Tonight, 49 days after this crisis began, Mayon's incandescent dome glows red against the darkness above the northeastern Philippines. The crater glow is visible to the naked eye. The lava flows pulse with heat visible from 30 kilometers away. 3,891 tons of sulfur dioxide rose from this mountain yesterday. 947 rockfall events shook the flanks in the past 24 hours. 20 pyroclastic density currents raced down the gullies, and the magma supply feeding all of it shows no indication of exhaustion. PHIVOLCS says level 4 is not imminent. But PHIVOLCS also says this situation will only escalate if monitoring parameters escalate. And for 49 consecutive days, every parameter has moved in one direction only, upward. The mountain has erupted 55 times since 1616. Every eruption eventually ended. But the question science cannot answer, the one that haunts every volcanologist watching the data streams tonight, is what happens in the hours and days before this one ends. Is the plateau holding? Or is this the final silence before something far larger? 49 days. The mountain is still deciding. And 80,000 people are still waiting for an answer.